Yo, Jason, check chat.
Thank you for that, Bot Stimpy.
All right,
Let
there
me
we go.
let me let me restart this whole spiel that we were doing. So this is a podcast that we have yet to title. It is either going to be untitled or underqualified. Underqualified is what we were working on because we are going to be talking about topics that we feel like we are not adequately qualified for. We don't have degrees yet, but we are going to be making commentary on a bunch of variety of different topics. Alongside with me, I'm Jason, and to the right, you will see on your screen, is Finn. You can find him on Twitter at @skidap, and I have also dropped my Twitter handle below. Our wonderful faces that you can hopefully see just fine and hopefully hear. Finn, you got anything to add to our intro, sort of? I mean, I'll have to redo it all, but...
Nah, man, you nailed it right on the head with what we talked about.
So,
It
yeah.
was it was what exactly a month ago where you tweeted out something about having an anxiety attack, and then I DM'd you making sure that you were all right. And then I think it was like 2 nights later, I was like, "Yo, Jason and I both love to talk. What if we actually did something with that?" So here we are.
Yeah, it was a conversation at like 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night or Saturday night, whatever it was. It was one weekend that we were just like, hey, Finn reached out to me and said, we should start a podcast because we were talking about what we were up to. I've known Finn since 2017. We met in 2017 at college, and we kind of just hit it off then. So this was more of so Finn's idea to start this up, and I agreed to do it because it's not, why the hell not? Why not just do it? This, I know Twitch is saying that it's a test stream 4. I don't know why. Twitch is being buggy for me. I don't know what the heck to do it all, but so yeah, the premise of this podcast is really just we never really felt like there were any episodes or podcasting out there that could identify with people in their early 20s or in the college range, or just maybe, I guess you could say that the age range that's kind of lost, that doesn't really know where to go. We've listened to a lot of podcasts where you have a bunch of actors talking about their experiences and stuff like that, but we're not famous. I don't know if we'll ever be. So we wanted to create something that people our age could identify with, and not people that were famous, had a bunch of money, lived in California, or were in their upper 30s or whatever. The people that were just drinking wine on the weekends. We aren't that. We wanted to create something that a lot of people might identify with and listen to, and it's just kind of like a round table kind of talking, two guys having a conversation. We never really felt like there were any podcasts where you had like friends just chatting about really anything. Any topic is really there. Nothing's off limits. And even we plan to have some guests on. They may or may not be famous by the time we get them on. We're still in the early stages of planning, and we haven't really created much of an outline because, like Finn said, it was about a month ago where we kind of put this all together, and we've been quite busy. Finn is both a full-time student and a worker, full-time employee. There we go. I couldn't think of the word employee. And I am also a full-time student, but no longer employed. So we've both been busy with things, and we haven't really been able to plan this out as much as we'd like to. And also, Finn, you can also find Finn on another podcast at Around the Corn Pod. He does sports commentary alongside... help me out with this. Help me out. Who
So many guys.
So many guys?
Oh my gosh, there are so many guys. I could... Oh man, I'll find them all because they all deserve a follow 100%.
Yeah, so he does sports commentary, and we will occasionally do sports commentary here.
We've got guys like Ryan Stivers, Dylan Kuhn. Dylan, you likely won't see on there very often. Him and Jared Larson both also are involved with White Right Natty Light. You got Greg Mackey, Caleb Luzinski. Daniel Marvin, Josh Walshire, Quinn Daniel, Justin Talski, Matt Daring, Austin Roberts, the only Hawkeye that I actually like.
The only Hawkeye.
The only
Only
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. So it's a
But yeah,
lot
we've got
more. I really thought it was just three people running. I thought it was Austin. Austin, who's the God? Why am I? I can't forget. I'm forgetting his name right now. You see how prepared I am for this for tonight. I was just doing a quiz for one of my classes about 30 minutes ago, so that's why I'm kind of like haphazardly kind of doing this stuff. Finn's more prepared for me than this, so he probably should be, the one rolling with things. But I'll try to do stuff here. But so it sounds like there's a lot more to this podcast than I had initially found out. You are directly involved with it, so you know everything about behind the scenes, and you are called upon on that podcast too.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were stupid enough to have me on two different episodes now, and very likely some more.
Some more.
Which is
Why is that an unfortunate thing for you?
it's an unfortunate thing for everybody that listens. It's great for me. I think I've gained 4 Twitter followers since being on those 2 episodes.
Hey,
You
numbers are
know,
numbers.
which is like 45 times more Twitter followers than I had before.
Yeah, I mean, you
All 6
definitely
of them.
have like 4 times as many followers as me, but you're also a lot more well known than I am. And especially with your super spicy hot takes on both. Actually, you have takes on everything from Nebraska to the SEC to Iowa State, and even esports. So Finn also, he is heavily involved in the esports community. He pays basically religious attention to it.
If you
So
got a game that you play, I'll watch it.
yeah, I will do my best to follow along with that. I have been not paying attention to esports since 2017, so basically when we first met. But he's been more active with it. So that's another topic that is probably going to be mentioned a lot. That will be Finn's. I want to say cup of tea, but I don't want to be that formal and say cup of tea. But I can't really think of
That'll
any
be my
other.
big thing for sure.
I can't think of any other words, but he
My forte.
your forte.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of we have episodes to come. We are planned throughout until the end of the year, and we are going to reassess this at the end of the year, and seeing how it goes.
Phase up bot Stimpy. That's right.
Phase
Yeah.
up, phase up. Bot Stimpy out here providing us with a lot more feedback than we ever really expected. I guess for the first episode,
I expected to be the only viewer. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, because we do want to provide some sort of entertainment. And we thank you for being here. It's a weekday. It's past 9:30. It's a little bit late for some people, but then again, we've all been in quarantine, so I'm pretty sure all of our sleep schedules have been, absolutely obliterated. So, who knows? Who knows? I've been inside of an apartment for like months, so I haven't really gone out. I don't really know what things are out there. I am so disconnected from reality. So, but Finn, I want to talk about this, Finn. So, I was very interested in what you did for work, and it was really inspiring for me to hear about. I don't remember exactly the role, but you're welcome to mention it. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to talk about it.
So I am a landscaper. I plant flowers. I build retaining walls. I fertilize. It's a joke, but I do that every evening.
Yeah.
No, so my full-time job is officially I'm a level 3 behavior interventionalist. And that's a really fancy way of saying that I'm a kid wrangler. So I work in a behavioral disorder program where we have kids that have been deemed too dangerous to be kept in a normal public school. Usually it's a public school. We are contracted by multiple schools in the area. Actually, we have a student that comes from Tri-County, which is a local area school, and we have a student that's that comes from Southern, which is a another local consolidated school district. And us being Beatrice, we make a lot of money off of that. But that's and that's the only reason why we take them in reality. But at the same time, it's like, I really care about these kids. They're all good kids at heart. Unfortunately, they're all just victims of circumstance. They all have suffered a lot of trauma in the past. So it's kind of tough when you see them in the moment and they're, going off, throwing chairs, swearing, uh, threatening to kill you and all that stuff. You don't really think about it. But then when you get down to it, these kids, a lot of the time, they're doing these things either for a reason or they legitimately can't control it, which is unfortunate. They're all victims of circumstance. It's like inner city kids that end up getting into gangs and drugs and die in a shootout. When you look at everything, it was just this perfect kind of firestorm of, oh shit, everything just fell down.
And what about it really inspires you to really just keep on? Because I understand that.
Alcohol.
Well, okay, I don't assume that you go to work drunk, but
No, just most nights at this point.
just most nights. Because I do understand that now. I understand why teachers drink like at nights. Now, I think I understand it now. Um, but
God.
but like it's got to be really difficult to like I don't trying to think of proper wording here. Not just handle, but really motivate the kids because, like you said, they got dealt bad hands. None of what is going on is their fault, and I understand this because I've met a ton of people from all different backgrounds, and so I kind of understand and try to understand where they came from, and that's something that you have to do on a daily basis, and just remind yourself that. But really, what is it that like makes you really genuinely enjoy what you do and keep on chugging along and pushing through?
I love kids. Kids are incredibly stupid. They say the funniest things, will do the funniest things just because they're all like, yeah, that's it, man. That's it. I worked in kindergarten for about a month and a half a year ago. Actually, this time last year, I was in kindergarten and they said just the darndest things. It was hilarious. They called me, so they didn't understand the difference between Mr. and Mrs., but they also couldn't say Mrs., so they just said Miss all the time. And they also couldn't say my name, my last name. So I was Miss Penny. Yeah, I was Miss Penny for a month and a half.
And you just played along with it.
I just went with it. I didn't
Rolled
want
with
to
it.
argue. I was like, you know what? It's not worth the fight because there's 43 of these kids over three classes. I'm not gonna uh I'm not gonna take the time. And so they would say just the stupidest stuff. It's like, why do we have to pee in the toilet? When I flush, where does my poop eat? Okay. So why does A look like 7? No, Jordan, A does not look like 7. Seven's not a letter. Yes, it is. My dad said so. Jordan, your dad didn't say that. There's no way. Or I always got that my dad's bigger than you. Really? How tall's your dad? Bigger than you? Do you know how
I
tall
want to
he
I
is?
want to
7.
I want to interject here and give people perspective. Finn is a very, very tall man. I don't even remember your exact height, but
I'm only 6'4". I'm not that tall.
6'4". You look a hell of a lot like taller than 6'4", though.
That's because it's because I'm thin enough that when I turn sideways, I disappear. I was told that I could hide behind a stop sign. A little
That'd be
skinny
a little bit
post. Yeah.
scary, don't you think? little bit
It'd be
scary.
terrifying. It'd be
Yeah.
terrifying. That's like, you have people that make jokes about looking like a Holocaust survivor, something like that. That'd be worse than that, dude. It would hurt to like.
Yeah. Those comments probably won't fly today in today's world. Um,
Yeah, that's always the big go-to for like a big descriptor of somebody that's anorexic.
yeah.
I mean, it's true when you really think about it. Like people that are anorexic, they look like Holocaust survivors, I, which you know, it's not that bad. At the same time, it's something that I always try to avoid for when like it's the most fitting thing. Just because, like, come on, man, that's not skinny. That's deathly thin.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, that's what I got asked that a lot in high school. If I eat. Your parents feed you? Do you eat? If you lay down on the ground, I bet that we could just like, slide you under a table.
I mean, we probably could. Now
Probably.
that I think about it, we probably could like if we were to put you on. I don't know if you had those scooters in gym class or whatever.
Oh yeah, the little
Those
four-wheeled
those things that
scooters.
would
I
crush
love
your
those.
fingers. I bet you if we laid you down on one of them, like we could just slide you underneath the couch or something. Like,
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
Got it.
your head would probably get in the way, but
Yeah, I think my head's the thickest part of me. Gotta, I gotta have some place to keep those rocks.
can confirm it was. Sometimes it's difficult to get through the fin. Sometimes. But so yeah, I was really inspired. So that's also like I brought that up because I brought up your work because that was something that was a conversation that took place prior to making the decision that hey, let's start a podcast. And because it was a lot some pretty heavy stuff that we were talking about, and maybe we'll get to that stuff here, but because we do want to be personable here, we don't want to seem like we're just robots on a script. Actually, to be honest, we have no script.
I forgot to pull up the document.
I have the document here, but we just we have like a general outline, but who's to say that we're gonna like stick to it? Obviously, we're gonna try to keep on schedule. Keep things on about roughly an hour and 15-minute long episodes. I know we were late today, but because first stream, setting things up, and even then, Twitch is being wrong and saying that this is a test stream 4, which really isn't. It's the actual thing.
It'd be test stream 5.
It would be test stream 5, but
Yeah, come on, Twitch.
this is
Do
actually
it.
testing.
Ugh,
It didn't update the title for some reason, and I'm still.
bad platform. We're switching to Mixer.
Oh God! Oh God! Let's already switch to a dead platform.
Jokes on Mixer. I had 3,000 followers on that platform.
We're gonna go Reddit Live. Reddit Live this.
The Reddit Public Access Network.
Yes. So
We have signed an exclusive deal with Instagram Live.
only vertical portrait mode streams only, right?
Right.
Right. So that it doesn't look like natural for the eyes.
Facebook Gaming. Yeah, we'll just pull a zero from the Smash community.
Yeah.
Sign with Facebook Gaming. As long as neither of us get outed as a pedophile, we'll be good.
I think
Yeah, you're not up on that news, are you?
I can't say I am. Please explain now. Now you have to explain. I'm lost here.
Or YouTube? YouTube's not bad actually. I'm not gonna lie. YouTube's got some good stuff. I like how it just saves it right onto your YouTube channel. It's kind of useful, I think. You know. But oh man, so the zero joke. Um, yeah, Doctor Disrespect's on there. PewDiePie's on there. Falcray. I mean, we got some decent content creators on there. Oh yeah, Courage is on there, but like, he just kind of Courage is just kind of there. I'm not gonna lie. He was just kind of there on Twitch too.
On Twitch, or are we talking about Twitch or YouTube, like primary streaming platforms? Because
Courage signed with YouTube Gaming, but he was with Twitch for a while. For most of his streaming career. But the Zero comment, God, that was so funny because so fighting games are really, really popular in all areas of the world except for like the Middle East because they don't have good internet there. But he Zero was a South American Smash player. He was the greatest Smash 4 player. Smash 4 being the worst Smash game. No,
Smash
Brawl was
4
probably
Smash 4
worse.
was the one on Wii U,
Wii U,
right? Okay.
yeah. Indian Tekken, dude. Tekken's a masterpiece. I absolutely adore that game. It's it's gorgeous inside out. But Zero was a South American Smash player, and when Smash Ultimate came out, he had already retired from playing Smash, um, because the community just kind of hated him because he was so good at Smash 4. But then he signs with Facebook Gaming for whatever reason. He must have gotten just a fat bag. Him and Disguised Toast were the only two that did it. But like, man, that bag must have been just NFL quarterback money. No, not quarterback, because that was Shroud and Ninja. It's probably like NFL running back money.
Like I really don't understand why anybody would go over the Facebook to
Yeah, it's
as a
so
primary
weird.
stream. I mean, I guess that reaches the you can reach the masses that way, and the fact that a lot of people have Facebooks and Facebook
Yeah,
profiles, and it doesn't require all they have to do is just log into Facebook, and if they want to comment on anything or anything, they can do it with their Facebook profile. Whereas like YouTube and Twitch, it also, I think Facebook appeals more to the older people because,
yeah.
older people are on Facebook. No offense to older people, but really you guys are just taking over Facebook. Like it's kind of like the people that grew up with MySpace just stuck on Facebook, and then the people that were like 30 when MySpace and Facebook kind of took off, they decided to join Facebook too, and so like now they're 50 and 60 years old. And because I look
Hmm.
I look at the comments on some of these like Facebook pages, and they are from they're from people that just, well, one, like how out of touch are you really with reality,
Yeah.
um and two, how educated are you? Because there's some like, you think Twitter is stupid, Facebook is on its own is just it's a beast of its own. Like Twitter
Hmm.
Twitter's bad for threads sometimes. Like some people on there are bad, but like Facebook is just 100% bad. There's no intelligence coming out of those
There's
threads.
just nothing.
No. So
But
I guess for Facebook, if you were to stream over Facebook gaming, you could appeal to that audience. I guess that doesn't really know what gaming is, and maybe they just feel like going in there. That would be my only guess, though.
but the issue with Zero is the fact that he played a fighting game. And fighting games appeal to both older players and younger players. Because Smash has been out since, I want to say the 90s, but it could have been earlier.
Late 90s. I believe it was late
Mortal
90s.
Kombat came out way earlier than that.
92.
And then you've got Tekken, which is old as dirt as well.
94.
Street Fighter, the original fighting game,
Late 80s, I believe. Late 80s, early 90s.
like that had an arcade,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, an arcade cabinet. It was so old.
Well, same thing with
You
Mortal
think about
Kombat and Tekken. They all had their arcade cabinets.
you think about stuff like that, and then you've got like 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds going to these big fighting game tournaments, and then you've got like 40-year-olds going to these big fighting game tournaments. But the people with the biggest influence were always in their mid to late 20s, kind of like Zero. I think he was early 20s, but that's besides the point. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of professional e-gamers are kind of gross dudes. If you look at me, you're all like, oh yeah, that guy's a gamer. All the blackheads, the nasty teeth, the Cheeto dust on my hands all the time, just
Actually,
the stench of Mountain Dew.
they're Doritos, actually, not Cheetos. Doritos.
Oh, you're right. You're right. My bad. My bad. What?
I just think it's funny because I've seen some stuff. I've never actually personally been to a Smash tournament, but apparently they had to start putting in the rules in the venues, like please shower before coming in, or please bring
You
deodorant.
have to wear
Yeah, like they
deodorant.
put it in the rules. I've only been to one esporting event, and it was only here on campus, and it wasn't bad. Like actually, I didn't really smell anybody that was, like smelled bad. Um,
The worst part is that was at Evo, the literal world
yep,
championship. Like, come on. But
it's evil. All these people, they just stay up and they just travel and don't. That's
they
Evo is
just
the
never
only thing on their
shower.
mind. And I mean, I understand if you can't shower, like maybe you just don't have hotel accommodations or like that. Like,
Right.
but I mean, if you haven't showered in a week and you are able
And
to
you're
like
just chilling.
yeah, and if you are able to actually travel and attend these
Ugh.
events, like I
Yeah, it's a
mean
yikes.
yeah, I can't I can't really find any valid excuses for like showing up to an event in the masses. Not even it's not just one person. It's like the masses.
Yeah.
It's so bad. You know it's bad when the event organizers have to really put out a rule there saying please shower and please bring deodorant. Hello, mysterious man in the background. Um, but so it's I don't get it. Like I've never personally been to an esporting event like that, such as a fighting one. I have never been to a fighting esport event, but I've been to what we had here at Iowa State was we had the Open
Yeah, that was my
Invitational.
brother in the background.
Yeah, I figured he looks a lot like you. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I
yes.
have to make that obligatory comment. Oh, you two just look like alike. You guys look so much.
Oh, you two just look so alike.
Anybody with siblings, I'm sure, is already like is so used to those comments.
Yeah. I get
So
that with my sister too, but she's got my dad's cheeks, chubby cheeks. She's got a
cheeks.
baby face.
I would make a comment here, but I should not. I should not make that.
I have a young face, but my face is very long, so it just looks like I'm 16 permanently.
Didn't I'm now you have to talk about the time you got carded.
God. So I was getting gas in somebody's car. It wasn't my car because I didn't have a car in Iowa. But cop pulls up in his cruiser and he goes, "How old are you, young man?" Like, "I'm 19, sir. You wanna you wanna show me your license?" "What?" "Are you pulling me over while I'm pumping gas?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, basically. I feel like you don't look like you're old enough to drive without an adult." Like, what? Really? You don't think that I'm old enough to drive without an adult? He's like, I'm gonna need to see a license. So he takes my license, and because it's a Nebraska license, he goes and runs it to make sure that it's legit. All it is, he comes back, he's like, "Man, kids these days, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wouldn't know." It's like that was probably the single worst experience I've ever had with the cops. My dad is a police officer here in town, and like never had a bad experience with the cops ever. I've gotten pulled over for going like 25, 30 over the speed limit on the highway by the sheriff. Yeah, I got off with a warning, and 5 minutes later, a text from my dad saying, "Heard you got called, or heard you got pulled over." Like, yeah. So that was,
If
quite the difference,
if
I
I'm
think.
ever in a vehicle with you and I get pulled over, please hop in the driver's seat and I will ask you to use your privilege. Use your privilege, please.
Just they actually, when you're born as a cops kid, they actually give you a little card that says, "I'm free to do whatever the hell I want." Cops saw the
Yeah, that's how he got off. He saw the last name and he also saw his skin color. Like whereas me, I'm a minority, so like I'm already in like kind of, and it's a definite true statement because my brother got pulled over, for so his brakes went out on a hill. He he was stopped. He was stopped at a stoplight, but the stoplight, is on a hill. So he's in his, late 90s Honda Accord. And in front of him is this like 2015 Corvette C7 Stingray. And all he does, brakes went out. He rolls into it. They're both stopped. So all he does is really just rolls and taps into the bumper. The long story short, the cop cites him for failure to reduce speed. Which, on a physics level, engineering student, so I kind of can talk about physics a little bit. On a physics level, technically, they are correct. He did fail to reduce speed because when you are going down a hill, you are accelerating due to gravity. So technically, you aren't doing anything to overcome gravity, but the only tool for him to overcome gravity failed.
Was a Stingray.
Was a Stingray? Yes, the only thing. So,
I've heard that cars make the best brakes. Not your car. Somebody else's car.
Yeah, somebody else's car. All you gotta do is just hit them. But no, he just tapped into them. Slight cosmetic damage to the Corvette. But my brother.
That's like 40 grand on a Corvette. Let's be real.
I actually don't even remember how much it was, but I do remember it was quoted kind of pricey, and I was like, "There's no way. There's no way." It's a white Stingray. How hard is it to match the paint color white? Really? If it was like red or orange or green, then I could understand that. But it's
man, you got eggshell white. You have Kardashian white. You have.
Okay,
I mean, there's so many options.
GM maybe does have like different shades of whites for their Corvettes. They probably they have like a charcoal or like I mean that'd be more gray.
White.
But
no, dude, charcoal white. I could see it, dude.
So, but
we're making it. We're making that a thing. Charcoal white.
It kind of made us think. All right, so he had just come back from St. Louis, from a Cardinals game. So he was dressed up, cargo shorts, St. Louis Cardinals shirt, and a flat bill 5950 St. Louis Cardinals hat. Where I'm from, you get mistaken for being in a gang if you wear something like that, and it doesn't help that he's also a minority. So
yeah, I was about to ask if he was in St. Louis gangbanging, or
it would have been easy for him to mistake him as that. But that it made us really think about what if he was like dressed up in his work uniform or whatever that. What if he was in a button down and made it look like he adequately dressed and I guess well behaved. Would he have gotten off with the warning?
Who was the high-ranking minority officer that got pepper sprayed and beat by his own officers at a protest?
Oh, I
remember that story being a big thing. He was out of uniform at a protest. Because First Amendment, we all have a right to peaceably assemble, and like, I remember reading, and it was like, yeah, his own officers pepper sprayed him, and then they beat him. I'm like, yo.
The only name that's coming up is Leroy Logan from London, but this.
No, that's definitely not it.
No. I mean, he has a photograph though. He was in the police force.
Oh man,
I can't really find it right now just by using the keywords here: minority officer beaten by police force. But I got photos, but that doesn't really help me out here.
Yikes! Nope, that's not going to help us at all.
If I really wanted to see photos, all I'd have to do is just go to Twitter or just watch the news. It's really like that rampant right now.
Are people still protesting?
I believe so in Philadelphia. There's this. Very recently, within the past 2 or 3 days, an officer shot an unarmed black man, and Philadelphia is going crazy about it. I don't know all the details about it, so it's been a busy.
I remember
week
seeing
for
something. A guy that I follow that reports on Counter-Strike News, lives in Philadelphia, and he was talking about how like there's just fires everywhere right now
Yep.
because people are rioting. Like it's past protests again, it's riots, and I'm like, damn,
Yeah, they have a
so
curfew in
glad I
place
don't live
currently.
there.
And I want to bring up too an experience. I mean, I wasn't born in 1992 or 93. Whenever the Rodney King riots, I was born years after that, in the 90s, but years after that. But my parents lived in the LA area around that time, and um, they it's so I always enjoy listening to the story of like just as a bystander or citizen. Like, okay, first off, it's California, dirty air, obviously, but now it's polluted even more by all the fires and all the destruction. So much so that they told me that for days they were not like they could not open their windows. Like that's how dirty the air was. Like they wouldn't have been able to breathe clean air or just really breathe that well. Um, so I mean, obviously, LA's a much bigger city than Philadelphia. It's a much bigger city than Minneapolis. But um, I think it's just still really, really fascinating to kind of draw these correlations and also just hear from past experiences too. Um, and it also kind of brings us this question as that was 30 years ago. Things still haven't really changed that much. And I'm not here to say, oh, we need to defund the police or we need to have looser gun laws or anything. I'm not a politician. I'm I have not taken a single political science class. I am completely underqualified. There we go. There's that word again. Underqualified to really provide, I guess, expert commentary on this stuff. I'm just making this commentary as just a bystander, a citizen of the United States. Somebody that I don't really have a. I'm not here to have a propaganda viewpoint on
You're
it.
not here to influence
Yeah,
people
yeah.
on
There,
political
there
views.
you go. Influence. I couldn't think of the word there. Probably because I hate the word influence. I don't want to. I don't want. I just hate being.
You're about to become an
Yeah,
influencer.
I
Get
don't.
over it.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, bro. I'm a fucking influencer person,
Dude,
dude.
your Instagram's popping.
My
It's not
Instagram
popping,
is not
but like your
popping.
Instagram's got some sick pics.
My Instagram, it has only like 20 something followers and is blocked
That's
by
fine.
I don't know how many people have blocked it, but probably one.
Dude,
But
I'm here to influence people
yeah,
on something.
yeah.
So when you look at political stuff, you really need to keep a very open mind because there is no right or wrong. There genuinely is no right or wrong.
Hmm.
Like take policing for instance. Obviously, I'm slightly biased. I believe that police are a good thing because my dad's a cop.
Hmm.
I have had tons of good experiences with cops. I have seen our police in town handle a lot of situations very poorly. I've seen them handle a lot of situations spectacularly. That's going to happen. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. Here's the deal. I can't speak on defunding the police because I haven't actually looked that much into what defunding the police fully is. I know it's not like just abolishing them like some people want, which I think is stupid because people can govern themselves up to a point, but then the problem is that absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Hmm.
And when you have nobody in power, people will look to find somebody that can be in power. It's happened time and time again throughout history. The Roman people, the Roman senators killed Julius Caesar because they were like, this man is the dictator. We
Yeah.
can't have a lifetime. He literally declared himself lifetime dictator, which isn't a bad thing. Well, it wasn't a bad thing back then.
People didn't have a better understanding of dictatorships then than they do now.
Well, dictatorships have changed. Dictator technically, under the Roman definition, I think I think in Latin it just meant like absolute leader. And it wasn't a bad thing that Julius Caesar took a hold of the entire government because he was very objective in the way that he looked at things, and it actually worked out pretty well for the Roman people for for a while he was pretty much in charge. But they didn't want a lifetime dictator, so the senators killed him, and then the city just kind of fell apart for a while until the next emperor or the first emperor stepped up, and you know it kind of shows that there does need to be somebody in power,
Hmm.
whether that be the police upholding the power of the law, which is what they're supposed to do. They don't hold power over you. They just hold the power to uphold the law, which is something that citizens have and don't have. It's a lot more complicated. Whereas with cops, it's like, yeah, man, if they're trying to hurt you, yeah, just like do whatever. It's fine. The law is pretty gray on them,
Hmm.
which is part of the problem.
Yep.
Like in Nebraska, did you know that Nebraska cops can text and drive?
I'm pretty sure it's not only just Nebraska. I think Missouri can too.
See, the issue is that Nebraska, they don't have to be on duty to be able to text and drive. So long as they are an officer of the law, they can text and drive. So if my dad's driving to Walmart on his day off, he can text and drive. And even if it was a primary offense in Nebraska, he couldn't be pulled over for it. Because if he did, he just flash his badge and say, "Sub, fucker."
Yeah, that
You wouldn't say that. He'd get big trouble for that one.
texting and driving and just general phone usage while driving is an
Same.
issue. And is a big issue for me because I did an entire, I don't know how many page research paper on it in high school on texting and driving, and one of the
You can drink and drive in Missouri?
drink and ride,
What?
drink and ride.
Drink and ride.
So does it?
Oh,
So bot simply, can you clarify? Does that mean like you can have an open container in the car? Um, is that um,
that's right. Okay.
yeah.
So probably open
Yeah,
container.
so does it mean like
That's
as a passenger?
crazy.
Okay, so yeah, they said that in Missouri as a passenger you can have an open container and say being an
Man,
Uber or being a
that
credit card.
explains a lot about Missouri. That explains a lot about Missouri.
I my sister. Okay, so he's got family from there. My sister also lives in Missouri, so I I've never really actually dug into Missouri laws and dated somebody from St. Louis and lived in a majority of their life in St. Louis. So, I mean, they probably know a lot more than about that. But never really. I think it's because I never really found myself much of in Missouri and never really had to deal with and also the times that did go to Missouri. I wasn't 21 yet, so I didn't have to really worry about that. And, I'm a very very boring person. Never didn't really drink that much. When I was younger, didn't party at all. I was really focused. I was a nerd. I still am a nerd. Not as much as a nerd as I was before, but always in my books and didn't really want to socialize with anything. Just always wanted to get my stuff done and
Nebraska has no public intox spot, Stimpy. Nebraska has no public intox. They just send you to the hospital to sit in the drunk tank for a while.
see. I don't understand the public intox charge. Like you're punishing somebody for being intoxicated in public, but like
Really?
why isn't anybody like helping them? Like that's the thing.
You
Um,
it's not so much that so in most places it's not so much that you're punishing them just to punish them. It's more so it's more so that you're punishing them to force rehabilitation, which is the idea of the prison system. The no, that's not the correct term. The whatever. Yeah, prisons and jails are meant to be forced rehabilitation. You
yeah,
can't drink in prison, can you?
I wouldn't know. I've never
Well,
been.
no,
So
you can.
just
Not. It takes a lot. It takes a lot more. You can't drink in prison. You can't kill people in prison. You can't rob liquor stores in
you are
prison.
not allowed to kill anybody in prison, but
Well, in theory, you can't kill people in prison. In practice, it doesn't work out so well.
yeah,
But it's it's forced rehabilitation, which is part of the problem because forced rehabilitation doesn't work.
no,
At the program that I work at, we have what are called safety rooms. Now they're called safety rooms because it is a place where everybody is safe. The student, that's in there, if they went in there voluntarily, that's fine. Nothing. They even get like a little fidget toy to play with if they go in there voluntarily. And they get, 10 free minutes with no wasted time. We have like a whole system that goes around that. But then if they don't go in there voluntarily, they're probably violent. And if they're violent, then we need everybody to be safe. And it's just a room with walls made of like
Foam.
3 layers of plywood.
Oh, plywood. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to hurt themselves on plywood. It's soft enough that if they manage to hurt themselves, they're probably going to bust through it first. But then it's essentially the same idea. And I'm not the biggest fan of it, but at the same time, it's something that we need because we have students. And it's a lot different because we're dealing with children. We are dealing with the safety of children, and we have an obligation to keep these children safe. And so it's forced rehabilitation. They don't have a choice. They either get their shit together or they don't get out. Now, obviously, we can't keep them there all
No.
day, until tomorrow. They have to go home eventually. But, it's not exactly a system that works, just like the prison system.
Yeah,
just like
it's trickier. It seems like for
just
schools,
like the jails.
because schools.
What do you think most people are in prison for?
My guess would be, well, I would say drug charges are probably possession of drugs. It's not even just like utilization. It's just if you're caught with possession of drugs. I would be
Non-violent drug-related offenses.
Yeah. And
And
go ahead.
you already know who the majority of inmates are. Majority of inmates are male minorities.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to get into that because that's an entire thing, and it also stems back to what we talked we talked about at the beginning of our conversation, where inner city kids kind of born into
Yeah.
shitty circumstances.
It's a
And a lot
trickle
of-
down effect. Like it's what they learn from
Yep.
from their identity or their family.
And so, the prison system doesn't work because why the hell should somebody that was smoking weed on their couch when the cops busted through their door because their neighbor was pissed off, why the hell should they change? They didn't do anything that hurt anybody, did they?
No,
Hell, most states are legalizing weed.
which is a good thing, in my opinion. It's a good
I think it's a good thing. Tax the hell
Yeah,
out of it.
that's
Man.
what
You really want it to stop? Make it like cigarettes.
Yeah,
Tax the hell
exactly,
out.
exactly. That's what's like people. That's what I think. A lot of states and just the nation in general just needs to understand that if you really want to make something like frowned upon, I guess, treat it the same way as cigarettes, like tax it highly, and then you could use those taxes for better things in your state. I know for Illinois, we need a lot of help. I mean, I'm currently in Iowa, but like from Illinois, needs a. I'm gonna censor myself here, but we need a lot of help, like a lot of like, and the biggest thing that I always like talk about is whenever I travel back to Illinois, there's a massive difference on the interstate where it's like you're on the interstate, you're driving, like everything's fine. You cross the Mississippi River, see the sign that says "Welcome to Illinois," all of a sudden you're just going just on the road just like this because you can't, like, the roads are just so terrible in Illinois, and it's like so different, and it's funny for me to just think about that, but in reality it's actually pretty sad too that Illinois is the way it is. But that's where taxes need to come in, and it's also taxes itself won't fix it. It's also the people
I think it's
running the state
I think it's
too.
funny. Nebraska like touts the fact that our lottery pays for so much of this public stuff.
Missouri does the same thing. Missouri
Guess
lottery
what?
does the same thing.
Guess what? We don't allow gambling aside from the state lottery. And you know what would actually help the state a lot? Legalizing horse tracks.
Yes,
We
yes.
have two legal horse tracks in the state, and that's because they were around before gambling was officially banned by the Senate.
So they're just
And
grandfathered in
I
then.
mean the Nebraska Senate, our one,
Yeah,
uh,
the state senate.
our yeah, the state Senate. It's crazy because you have somebody like Tom Osborne who's not afraid to actually cheat in college football and use more partial qualifiers than they're allowed to create national championship caliber teams. But no, why would we want gambling? Come on, no gambling in our state. We're a good Christian state. Dadgummit.
Yeah, if you can make gambling legal if you make it sound like it's not gambling.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's with
Lottery.
anything. That's with anything in the world. Like you can,
Counter-Strike Global Offensive,
yeah,
anybody?
yeah. There we go. I'm sure. Bot Stimpy can here in chat can really make
Oof.
comments on CS gambling and I mean I don't believe he gambles himself, but if Bot Stimpy is who I think he is, or they, um, I'm pretty sure they're heavily involved in the Counter Strike community, and so they know a lot about this. Maybe we'll need to get Bot Stimpy on an episode one day.
Oh
Maybe
man,
we'll need to get
dude.
Bot Stimpy on an
FaZe
episode.
Clan literally bought their Counter-Strike roster off of Counter-Strike gambling.
T Martin lived in Iowa. Did not know that.
Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah, T. Martin lived in Iowa. Not for too long. I think when he did his whole big, I think when he did his big, oopsie, he was living with
Yeah,
Jericho
that
on the
big
East Coast.
that big oopsie.
Big oopsie. But no,
Big
FaZe Clan.
oopsie.
FaZe Clan owned the Counter Strike gambling website CS:GO Wild, and they used that to buy their Counter Strike roster for $1 million. They made $3.25 million within a week. They said. Banks like went off about how, oh yeah, we went to Aruba and we set up this business, and it's like, okay, so we know exactly what site you
Hmm.
you guys own now. Like Banks just completely outed himself. And like I love Banks, but the dude's done some shit things in the past. Like, on a podcast. Yeah, it was on his podcast that he has with Keemstar. What's it called? Mother's Basement, I
Oh,
think.
I don't remember the
I
name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's called Mother's Basement. Like, speaking of Keemstar, this is the only thing I want to say on that because I don't really want to go on him. But like, fuck Keemstar. But also,
Okay.
I feel like he's not a bad dude. I feel like he just chases the clout way too
No,
hard.
I also agree that he's not a bad dude because I've seen some of the older videos from like 10 years ago, specifically when he was like really working with Wings of Redemption. Um, if anybody really doesn't know who Wings of Redemption is, he's this famous YouTuber who's a gaming YouTuber who specializes in Call of Duty and has been playing Call of Duty for a while, and he's an
Which is
individual.
Keemstar shit.
Yeah, he's an individual who struggles with his own mental health and his physical health also. Um, and Keemstar and a bunch of other people famous, they started their own podcast. I forgot what it was called. I don't remember. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a good video on documenting this on YouTube. It's called like Down the Rabbit Hole. I mean, it's a series, but there's a Down the Rabbit Hole on Wings of Redemption. But seeing some of the older videos, Keemstar at his core seems like a good, well-meaning dude. It's just the numbers got to him.
He also, yeah, he's just a numbers guy. He wants the clout. He wants that
Hmm.
bag, man.
Yeah.
It's like he's good friends with Banks. He's very good friends with Banks. And look at how much money Banks has. Banks was. Oh, no, that's a good point about Stimpy. I'm not gonna lie, that's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe Keemstar's a garbage human being now. We
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that is a good point. Maybe because power, the typical cheesy saying, power can corrupt a person, and it's very possible that's a very
I got
very
one
real
point,
possibility.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a very
Could
very real
be.
possibility.
Genuinely could be.
And I've known personally people like that. Like they were once they started getting I will use this term clout once they started getting clout and getting a bunch of followers on their social medias and just No, they kind of left everybody where they like who they were, I guess, behind. Like, and they left their identity behind. And it's fine to change identity, but there's this quote from an individual that I knew personally. She had a quote that said something about don't lose sight of where you're going, but never forget where you came from. I believe it goes something like that. And it's a good point, especially for me, who's super like family oriented, I guess. Somebody that tight knit stuff, kind of like that. Um, and that's something that I really take to heart. Is it doesn't matter like in the odd chance that I become like some famous billionaire like on the likes of like Jeff Bezos and is also equally hated as Jeff Bezos. I would never.
Jason, we're gonna blow you up.
Blow me up, blow me up, blow me up, blow me up, Mortal Kombat style, I guess. But no, like if I were to ever become like some famous dude, like I'd always and actually, so my ex girlfriend like made a comment about this, like how I was telling her about these things that hey, like if I were to become like a famous musician or whatever like that, or just somebody famous, and somebody added me on Twitter or something like that, said, hey, I saw that you're in town. You want to go grab a cup of coffee or whatever, or want to go to get a sandwich? I'd honestly be like, yeah, sure, why not? Like I'll interact with you because I'm not gonna be one of those people that completely throws away like people that were at I guess at a quoting here lesser level. I don't want to see people like that as a lesser level. Like I don't want to see that I'm a king or more important than anybody else, because I understand that like celebrities, it's just a label. Like it's honestly just a label, and I don't want that label to get. I don't like it when that label gets to people. And I remember my ex-girlfriend, when I told her that, she's like, so you're gonna trust some random stranger just to like, and you're just gonna go out to lunch with them? I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, so what? Like, it's a random dude. If it hurts me in the long run, it hurts me in the long run. But I mean, just you got to take that chance. Like, you want to make yourself seem personable, not some robot that's just getting a bunch of money, not some tool for Hollywood, not some just machine for the recording industry of America, which the RIAA is a piece of trash. If you are, I feel for all the people that are trying to make it as artists. It's terrible. If it really is, you got to be really lucky. But I could talk about that another day, and we don't need to talk. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole now. But really, it's just I have this like, I guess, value inside of me that I don't want to ever lose sight of that personable side. I don't want to seem like that or view myself as higher than you. And there was a point in my life where I did start to feel that way. Like I was more important than however you are a peasant, get on my level kind of thing. And I hated it. I hated being, and luckily I wasn't like that for too long, and was able to change that mindset and actually wake up and realize what was going on. But and I vowed to myself, like I never want to be that person again that is self-entitled and all this other stuff. Because I understand, I grew up around a lot of different people in high school. I am from a very diverse community. My high school, we actually had international students. So people that were not originally from America emigrated to the Quad Cities and went to school there. And so I understand a bunch of different races, backgrounds, income levels, sexualities. There's a bunch of that's what I'm like. As much as I hated my high school, as much as I despised it, I do think, one, the English department, because the English department is a very understanding department, and they really prepare you for more than just writing papers, really just speaking intelligently, because through my English department you really are treated at a high level, and and I talked about this earlier in the week that like if I were to be an English major, I breezed. I probably would have been able to get my degree done in like 3 years, um, but I chose not to go that route. But anyway, so like
That's a long time for an English major, though.
I wouldn't know. So I'm a depressed engineering student. That's what I am. So, but I'm thankful for our English department. And I'm also thankful for the diversity in the community because it was really weird coming to Iowa State, a majority white institution, and I know it's majority white because we got an email this semester saying we are a majority white institution. Like, okay, like I didn't really need to an email to understand that yes, we are a majority white institution, but
I didn't
so
realize that Iowa had minorities.
yeah,
Interesting.
true. The only minorities you'll find are either in Iowa City or in Davenport. So 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 there's that big thing of just um, having that diverse background and understand it is that core thing of just that U word understanding. And I try to be as understanding as possible for people, and that's why I liked what you do as a job. You are super understanding of children and super understanding of their backgrounds. It's important, I think, for a lot of people to like have that, and so many people are sheltered and don't have that kind of understanding for things, and it's all about. I could say the typical sensitivity training that people got to go through, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Sensitivity training is not the same as you actually. What you need to do is you need to actually go out into the community and make a like an actual effort to learn and listen. It's all about really just listening and learning.
The issue with sensitivity training is that it teaches you how to not suck as a person, except it doesn't teach you how to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had to go through sensitivity training. I was just kind of thrown into the fire as a substitute over in this program. I was a one-on-one para for a lower functioning student. Student was very violent, very prone to outbursts. And you just kind of learn, you know, you learn what sets people off. You learn how to not always be in charge almost. And that's really the point that sensitivity training misses, is that you're not in charge in life. You never really are. Because unless you're some hotshot CEO that's at this company that 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 you can talk down to everybody and they can't do anything about it if they don't like piss off. You you have to give people a chance to talk naturally. If a kid has an outburst and I go in and we always problem solve with them after uh, an outburst before they can leave the seclusion. We, every time when I walk in, if I were to go, all right, so look, this is what you did, this is why it's wrong, all right, I'd get nowhere. I would get absolutely nowhere. But instead, if I walk in and I say, all right, why are we in here? Give me your side of the story. I'm going to learn their thoughts. I'm going to figure out how to be able to phrase, what they did wrong, why it was wrong. And then them and I can talk and we can figure out, how do we do better? So we follow the Boys Town social skills. And we get, one of the social skills is apologizing. Part of apologizing is saying how you'll do better next time. And they typically don't have to apologize to me. I'm usually just the guy that they call in to go wrangle the kid. Because as small as I am, these guns are. But a lot of it, I'm not going to go into why I'm the one that's called in to wrangle the kids. Let's just say that I'm usually the only one that cannot get shoved down by them. I have pretty decent balance at the very least.
That's because
But they always have to apologize. But we always have to figure out how they can do better next time. Because if they don't know how they can do better next time, then what the hell's the point? Why did I go in there? They know what they did wrong. They're the one that did it. They know that they threw a chair out the window. They knew that they broke the entire wall, put a hole to the outside. They know all that stuff. They did it. If they don't know that they did it, well, we can show them. That's for damn sure.
And there's also deeper issues rooted in there too.
We need to figure out how they can do better. How we can try do better. Maybe what set them off was they didn't get a second serving of tater tots. Okay. Next time. I don't know. It could be a ton of reasons why they didn't get the tater tots. We were out of tater tots. Next time, instead of getting mad, take deep breaths. Oh, you didn't eat all your food. Next time, eat all your food, and then you get tater tots. It's as simple as that. Oh, you don't like the peaches? Hey, man, you know the rules. You're gonna get mad at anybody, get mad at the rules. Go take a break. Take a fidget toy inside the break room. Inside the safety room with you. You can take a break. Next time, maybe don't pee on the floor. It's just problem solving. Problem solving is something that needs to be taught, I think, in sensitivity training, because being sensitive to other people's things, like, you're a minority. If I were to walk around saying the N-word, that'd be very insensitive.
And yeah, I'm
sorry, that's just like the one that's like associated with all minorities.
I understand that, but even me, just not
right.
not being an African American,
it'd be very insensitive.
It bothers me a lot when I hear that word. Like, it's cringe levels of like internal, like it really is like oh no, you'd really just did not say that, like, kind of thing. But no, I understand. Keep going.
Like, that'd be incredibly insensitive, but that doesn't solve the problem. Knowing that, oh yeah, I can't say this. Okay, why can't you say it? Why can they say it? In reality, they shouldn't be able to say it. Any kind of thing that can be considered a slur shouldn't be said.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of stupid. Like, on the rare occasion it could slip out. Okay, I'm not gonna crucify you for that. But it's like, just knowing why you shouldn't say it doesn't solve the problem. I know that I shouldn't punch my boss. Why exactly shouldn't I punch my boss? That's the problem if I want to punch my boss. Why should I not? How can I not? That's the problem, and that's what needs to be solved. Not should I or should I not.
It's not just a black and white answer. There really is.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with that there. I've never had to take sensitivity training, but I've had to take when I was in a position of management with the university, and I wasn't this major person. I was in management of our campus dining services. That's what I was.
Dude, you were top dog. You were killing it.
I mean, they obviously started to treat me like I was top dog, and I got sick of it. But
dude, you had Tony Baloney looking
I
up
did
to
have
you.
Tony Baloney. Speaking of Tony Baloney, hopefully if you listen to this, we would love to have you on the podcast, because there are a lot of things that I could ask you about you, because just real briefly on Tony Baloney. He is a graduate of Iowa State that graduated in 2020. So this year,
my absolute favorite person ever.
He is an awesome individual. But it's really interesting, because I want to know how it was for him, because he has a full-time job, and a very important full-time job. But
I think he's a graveyard shift weather guy, right?
I don't even think he's graveyard shift anymore. I don't think so.
He's not primetime, that's for sure. But
actually, I think he was. I think he's starting to be primetime. But yeah, our friend from the university, Tony Baloney. That's not his real name, but if you were to actually see his name, you would understand why it's Tony Baloney. I have a lot of questions for him as far as just like getting into the job market during a pandemic, because he graduated during the pandemic, and I there's a lot of things that I would like to understand, and there's a lot of things not just from him but from like a lot of the people. So I entered college in 2016, so technically I was part of the class of 2020. Or I would have been a part of the class of 2020. So a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I knew graduated in that class, and I'm very, very curious as to like what it was like for you guys, because that's something that I didn't experience, and I don't know if I ever will have to experience. I'm not gonna write that off, but it's highly unlikely that I'll have to enter this super crappy job market during a pandemic where everything shut down, and so everything. So there's a lot of questions that I have for him and also for individuals in the class of 2020. I have a lot of questions for a bunch of people, and that's why I'm hoping that we can have. Excuse me. I'm hoping that we can have many guests along the way. Hopefully, we can get some before the end of the year. I'm pretty sure that we will continue this podcast going past 2020.
I hope so.
We have a ton of stories, guys. We do. We have many stories, and we haven't even scratched the surface yet. We're already an hour and 14 minutes in, and there's like I would consider that Finn and I are very experienced individuals. With what
He's talking about sex. We do the sex a lot. Not together.
No, not yet. Not together yet.
I'm currently taken by Austin J. Roberts, my favorite Hawkeye.
Go follow Austin Roberts on Twitter and flood his DMs. He needs a lead.
Please, if you're a woman watching this,
hell, if you're a man,
just flood his DMs.
Yeah.
If you're anybody, just flood his DMs.
If you identify as an individual, as a person, just please, and you have a Twitter, please follow Austin Rob. Is it what's his Twitter
found this through Twitter, so
it's
all right. So we got a lot of stories. We have a lot more here that we can talk about, but I think it's time to call it on the first live episode. Our plan for now is to get 2 episodes done a week. The first episode every week going live, and then will be posted on YouTube, with the second episode being recorded only, be posted at a later date. So I hope that you all enjoyed it. We had quite a few more viewers than I thought that we would have.
Yeah, and that's
appreciate
a good start.
Bot Stimpy and XC Girl 13 coming out and watching the live stream, watching two ugly mugs just talk for 75 minutes.
Yep. And if you come across a stream, either you watched it live or you're watching it later on or after the fact, and if you feel like you have anything to contribute, any stories or anything really just productive to the podcast, please reach out to us. We would like to know, because this podcast is story oriented. It really is, and it's free flowing. We want to make sure we get as much exposure to a lot of topics as we can, and if you are a lot more qualified to comment on things than us, please come on over on this podcast. We would love to have a conversation with you, and so hopefully you can also get any messages that you have or understandings, so you can help other people understand. Like if you're a healthcare worker, that'd be excellent to have you on, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that really don't understand how difficult your job has been. And it doesn't have to be healthcare, just anything. Just please, anything. Reach out to us if you're interested, and we'll consider it.
If you play video games for 14 hours a day, hit us up.
Yes.
We'd love to hear about that.
We are both gamers,
if you are a high school student that does nothing but watch TikToks in class and are failing everyone that's not study hall, hit us up. We'd love to hear about that.
We are here to engage with everyone, really. From if you are in kindergarten to if you are 80 years old, 90, 100, 110, 120. I don't even know how old people are now. But really, we want to cover all of our bases and make a production that everyone can easily access and identify and pick up and listen. Either, when you
that us 20 somethings can enjoy.
yeah.
That's the main goal.
We
I want us
specialize
20 somethings to enjoy this show,
we specialize with the 20-year-olds, 20 something year olds, but we aren't
especially the
restricted
women.
with them. We aren't restricted to that age range. We are really welcome. At least I am, and I'm sure Finn is too. I know Finn personally, and we are pretty welcoming with a lot of things and a lot of people. So just don't be racist. We won't allow that here. That's common sense.
Yeah,
So we don't want to allow that here.
about it. Just don't be a dickbag.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah.
I'm the only dickbag allowed here.
That is the case. That is true. If you have anything productive to contribute, please reach out to us. We would love to hear it, and hopefully have you on an episode in the future. I'm
All right.
gonna wrap this up for me. Finn, you got anything more to add?
Roll clones.
Roll clones and roll credits, which we haven't assembled yet. Those will be done though sometime soon. For now, everybody have a good night. Hope you enjoyed the show, and stay safe. Take care of each other and take care of yourself. We'll see you later.